Hey guys, what's up? I kind of intended to film some other stuff. I kind of intended to film more of the E153 stuff, like the test driving and all that stuff. But all that stuff is honestly really kind of boring. I posted me ripping on it a couple of times. I really haven't done much of anything to this thing other than drive it and kind of rip on it a little bit. Haven't been back to the track yet. I'm waiting, waiting for the perfect weather, and I don't know. I just haven't gone back yet. But anyways, before I go back, there's a few parts I want to go ahead and put on this thing. So as I mentioned before, I put some 99 Miata cams, the BP4W cams. They're great cams, but they could be better. So what I did was I went ahead and I purchased some cam gears. So yeah, these cam gears are, once again, from KA Injection. Once again, like the only place that really specializes in the BG chassis and the BP. I mean, the great thing about these is that you can use these on the Miata too. So I mean, they're not just BG specific. They're for the Mazda BP, or you can use one on like a B6, or if you have like, or B8 or whatever. If you have a single jingle Mazda engine, you can just buy one. For the complete set, I believe it's just over 200, maybe just under. I can't exactly remember because I bought them during the pre-sale kind of thing, so there was a little bit of a discount. But anyways, yeah, really nice, really sexy. So I'll be throwing these on. That should be hopefully fairly quick. Obviously, I don't have any dyno time. I don't have any dyno time planned out or anything, but I'm just going to go by the basic rule of thumb for turbo cams, and that's just to retard both gears equally, and that will push the power band forward a little bit higher, a little bit higher in the RPM range. And then I'll probably like retard the exhaust cam just a little bit more beyond that, and that should help with spool and things like that. Not the best way to do it. I'm sure you could look at the cam specs and calculate it out, but realistically the best way to do it is on a dyno. I'm just going to use the butt dyno and see if it makes a difference and see if it pays off at the track. So yeah, you get the valve cover off and all that stuff. I'll film all that fun stuff. I also picked up a Skunk 2 intake on a Black Friday sale, so I'll be getting rid of this GTX manifold. It's actually a real nice man. It's been cut and port and polished inside and everything, so it's actually it's better than a stock GTX manifold. But the Skunk 2 manifold is nice because it's higher plenum volume and also has a 64 millimeter throttle body, so a 2.5 inch throttle body as opposed to that dinky little guy. So that'll be coming sometime soon. I don't know. I haven't gotten a ship notification yet because it was a Black Friday sale and they got hammered, and who knows when they'll actually ship it out. And other thing is this guy, this Ion Redline. So this is my wife's car, or was my wife's car. She doesn't really drive it anymore because, she has that guy out there that's her new daily. So I've been driving this guy, and that was up until this happened. So yeah, that is what it looks like. It has oil in the coolant. So I'm being optimistic because there's no coolant in the oil, although there's no oil in it because it dumped all the oil into the coolant system, or the majority of it anyways. But I'm being optimistic that it's not a head gasket because this has actually happened once before. So on these cars, there is a water to oil cooler that's factory installed. It comes from the factory. It's a oil cooler that uses the car's cooling system to cool the oil. So it's basically it's just like a water to water heat exchanger but for oil. So what happens with these things is that they crack internally, and they allow oil into the coolant. And the reason why it doesn't happen the other way around is because the oil pressure is generally much higher than the coolant pressure. So what you end up with is, you end up with oil in the coolant, but not the other way around. So I'm going to pull the oil cooler off this and check it for a leak and see if it's leaking. And if it is leaking, then I'm going to put a oil to air cooler on it, get rid of the water setup so that this will never happen again, and just start driving it again. I may start modding it. I probably will start modding it. I've been looking at turbo kits for it. I don't know. I mean, I had a Cobalt SS, so I've already gone through this whole Ecotech thing, this LSJ thing. I've done it once. I don't know if I really want to do it again, but I also don't want to get rid of the car because it is kind of a unique thing. And I hate to send it to the scrapyard just because I don't feel like fixing it. So, and I may fix it and I may sell it. I don't know. But that'll be a whole other video, probably a whole other video series, because now that I look at it, I realize that the oil sitting inside of the coolant, inside of the hoses, has started to seep through the coolant hoses. So apparently the oil is breaking down all of the rubber hoses. You can even see it here on this return here. You can see where it's kind of sweating through. So I have to replace every single coolant hose on this thing. I don't know how many there are. I'm just going to have to start pulling it apart and making an inventory of what's what. And yeah, so that's going to be fun. But like I said, that's a whole other project. That'll be for another video series. So for now, what we shall do is start on this guy. Alright, guys. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and crack these bolts loose while it's still together. I believe they are 14 millimeters. Alright. That's all I'm going to do is just loosen them. I'm not going to take it all the way out. I just want them loose. This will be hard to do later. I'm going to take this intake off. Get it out of the way. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and rotate the engine over to top dead center and align all my timing marks. Oh, I guess I should take the car out of gear. Alright, so that should be top dead center. You got the intake facing straight up, E facing straight up, I facing there, E facing there. So that should be, that is top dead center. Ooh, all that smells like E85. E85 really gets in the oil. Alright. Right. Check that. So here's my trick to doing this without any special tools. It's a pretty well-known trick. Only 2 adjustable wrenches, preferably the same size, close to the same size. I'm going to put one there. There. Make sure these are nice and snug. Pair of vice grips. Vice grips here. Lock those together, and that will hold the cams in place. And then take your Rocky Patel Edge A10, while you're back up. Yep. I used to smoke a whole lot of Rocky Patel, and I felt like their quality kind of started, not really their quality, but their consistency really started going down. Because I really used to love the 92 and 94s. Or was it the 90 and 92? I can't remember. But, yeah, I really used to love their vintage ones. And, I don't know, they just kind of didn't become all that great, you know. I started trying, what's his face? Don Pepin Garcia and the whole Garcia family. Never really looked back. But I saw this guy. I was like, I used to really like the Edge. I forget what's so special about this one other than it being a barber pole. Which I don't think that does anything other than it looks fancy, I guess, you know, but yeah, it's like it reminds me of the Edge, but a lot lighter. It's not as extreme. Sorry, I didn't mean to turn this into Stovall Stogie review. Alright, so now that the timing, number one's at top dead center, cams are locked, I'm going to go ahead and loosen up the timing tensioner, timing belt tensioner, and that is, I thought it was a 14, feels like a 14, feels a little loose, no it's not a 13, that is loose, alright, I guess that's where that noise has been coming from. I'm going to go ahead and loosen up that tensioner there. Don't want to be too loose, but everyone's favorite. It's fucking. It's easy to get it off. It's really hard to get it back on. So got that off. You can slide the belt off. Get that out of the way for right now. Now the number one, the crank may move. I mean the compression should keep it in place, but there's still a slight possibility that it could move. I loosen that. So just be mindful. Make sure when you put the belts back on, you get them back on. You get it. You make sure you're at top dead center when you get the belt back on. Otherwise, you have a bad time. A very bad time. So these go on pretty simple. Take the old gears off. Kind of wish I had new hardware. These bolts look pretty ganky compared to, you know, nice new shiny cam gears. Oh, yeah, those are nasty as hell. So just like the stock cams, there's an I and there's an E. So the E goes straight up on the exhaust side. The I goes straight up on the intake side. Or if you have the exhaust cam, the intake exhaust cam mod, you can use this other little hole there. Alright, so I apparently moved the gears when I tightened them up like a dumbass. So I think I got them back where they should be. That seems to line up. Alright, so after some messing around, I think I got this all lined up and whatnot. This camera's about to die, so I'm just going to go and turn it off. But anyways, so we got these timing marks here. And they're really hard to get lined up because of the angles. There's a lot of parallax and they look off, but I do believe that they're finally on now. Timing marks straight up and down. 19 teeth between the belts, or between the cog gears, timing gears, whatever you want to call them. So I think we're good. I think. Belt feels like it should. Then put the spring back on. I'm really too old to be working on lowered cars and shit nowadays. Fucking back is killing me. Alright, let's put the valve cover back on, even though it's leaky. But I'll worry about that later. So it's really late at night, and I should probably be courteous to my neighbors, but I'm not going to be. Late at night, early in the morning, you know. What's the difference? So I'm going to have to reset the timing because I screwed with this gear, and the timing sensor is driven off of this cam, so I'll have to mess with that. But for now, I just want to start it. take some time. I'm not going to do that now because it's late. So I'll do that in the morning for you guys. It'll just be... Alright. So this is take 2, or day 2. Got the cam gears on. So basically all I need to do now is reset the base timing. Because what's happened is that I've retarded the exhaust cam, and the cam sensor is driven off the exhaust cam. So now the timing's retarded, basically. Or it's advanced. I don't know. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the software. I'm going to set the Megasquirt to 10 degrees base timing. It'll hold it steady at 10 degrees, and then that way I can check the timing on the timing mark on the crank, on the end of the crank there. You might be able to see that, you might not. I don't know. So, maybe close that. Go into ignition settings. I'm going to set this to change it. I'm going to change this from use table to fixed timing. And then this window pops up. So I'm just going to set that to 10 degrees, fixed angle. That definitely sounds super retarded. Guess I should have broke these loose first. Has this raw fuel. Alright, so I got the cams on. I've got both the intake and the exhaust retarded about like 5 degrees, with the exhaust or the intake degree or retarded maybe a degree more, just so that, yeah, so the exhaust is slightly less retarded than the intake, but they're both retarded with the intent to shift the power band up higher, and then the exhaust is slightly less retarded in order to decrease overlap, so that should help build boosts quicker. I think that's the way that works. They say you're supposed to do it like a degree at a time and see what happens, but I'm just gonna go ahead and send it. So we'll see what happens. So I'm gonna go ahead and hop in and take her for a rip. But yeah, something got fucked up somewhere when I was messing with the tune. So I need to fix that low end bog. hard to overboost in fourth gear. So that was a pretty fun drive. Ran into a Corolla. I actually talked to the guy before. He was pretty cool. I was kind of hoping he'd slow down so that we could actually line up, but I guess I'll settle for a fifth gear flyby instead. Alright, so yeah, yeah, everything feels good. I can't really tell if it's more power or not. I mean, it feels like it pulls stronger on the top end, but I mean, the car, it sounds like it's humble bragging or whatever, but the car pulls so freaking hard. Once boost sets in, it's really hard to discern any difference. You know, like, I feel like I feel like the power band shifting up top is something that'll be seen on a dyno or at the track, but it'll be really hard to feel because the car just feels like a freaking freight train regardless. So, anyways, here's the logs. So, this is when I was pacing the Corolla. You can see I'm at where are we? I'm at about 50% throttle. I'm just kind of, I'm just pacing. I'm not really getting on there. Held boost pretty solid though. Yeah, boost does come on. It does seem like it's, see 20 psi at 5,000. That's pretty solid. But same thing. I'm just cruising along, part throttle, just kind of pacing them. I think this is this is the full throttle launch. So the launch didn't work out. It bogged immediately after I let the clutch out. Oh, I think I'll have to compare because, I can't tell if the boost is coming on stronger, or sooner or not. This is third gear, 22, 21 psi. That's pretty solid. That's pretty much right where it's supposed to be. And then here it started to spike a little bit, at least it looked like it did. No, it's only 23 and a half, 24 psi. I don't know what these all... She was chooching though. Still, I didn't wind out fourth gear for some reason because I'm a giant fucking pansy. Yeah, I have to look and see what the other logs look like. Building a whole PSI on the two-step. I guess that's why I didn't go anywhere. Yeah, I guess I really have to look at some other logs. That's where she overboosted. That's what I was looking for. 28, 29 PSI. That's what... Yikes. I really thought it was full throttle on these. So yeah, when I passed that dude, I thought I could have swore I was on at full throttle. Apparently I wasn't. I was only 50% throttle when I passed him in fifth gear. Yikes. Oh my god, this thing's a fucking animal. Alright, so anyways, I'm going to go in, I'm going to look at the video, and start editing this video to get it uploaded to you guys. I'm not going to play with the cam gears much more because there's not a lot I can do without, there's not a whole lot I can do without, empirical data. It's just, I'm just guessing. I can't feel a difference, you know. If the car was still 130 horsepower, you'd be able to tell a 5 horsepower difference, you know, but at 400 horsepower, 5 more horsepower is kind of hard to discern, you know, so. Well, it's not really more horsepower that I'm looking for. I'm looking for a shift in power, and that's really hard to tell on with a butt dyno because it just, I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, until next time.